Hey guys, my name is Jasmine and today we're going to be making art based on photography. So before we get started, I'm going to tell you what you need. You need at least 2 pieces of paper, crayons, colored pencils, a Sharpie. It could be either fine point, jewel tip, whatever you have, whatever you want to use. A drawing pencil, which is also a graphite pencil, and an eraser. So what is cartography? Cartography is the making of and the art of making maps. So you may have seen maps before. There's lots of different kind of scenarios to see maps in. You can see them in movies, you can see them in books. They're pretty cool. There's lots of line work happening too, so that is kind of what we're going to be inspired by. Lots of line work and depth and dimension for this art piece. So you're going to take one of your pieces of paper and we're going to make a legend. And a legend, whenever you're looking at maps, a legend is basically a key to tell you what is all in the maps. So you might see a circle for a lake or a circle for, a circle for lots of things. These are all, our legend is going to be basically a grouping of what is in the map, but simplified. So I'm going to start with that. And you can make your map based on something that is real, something that is fictional. Maybe you're making a map for something that is actually a mashup of 2 different things or multiple different things. So my map is going to be fictional, especially because I want it to have a certain flow. So I'm going to think about what is all of the map. I'm going to do my symbols first, which are the representation of what's going to be in there, and then I'm going to make basically I'm going to assign everything afterward. So symbols first. I know I want some circles, maybe some triangles, some bigger triangles, some squares, some squiggly shapes, and then maybe some pound signs, which is also a hashtag sign, which is also just hash marks, and then spirals, dots, square dots. And maybe you're not even assigning all these to things too, because when I'm thinking about this map, this art, how it's going to go, I'm also thinking about how things are going to overlap. So they're going to be on top of one another. So for instance, I might have a circle inside one of my triangles, or the lines might be crossing. I kind of want that layering to be happening because I want that in this art piece here. So I may not use everything here. I might not assign everything a thing. But my map is going to be inspired by the outdoors. So I'm not going to have basically a map that's inspired by the indoors. It's going to be inspired by, rooms and stuff. It's going to just be inspired by outdoors. So for instance, let's make our circle maybe a body of water. AKA maybe a lake. We have our small triangle, which might be maybe flowers, or a flower bed. Our bigger triangles could be trees. A dotted circle. So I'm going to leave these be for now. I'm not gonna assign anything to them. I might decide later as I'm making my map in my head, maybe a narrative is happening. Maybe that will inspire me to assign these to, or assign items to these few symbols here. Excuse me. Wow. So I'm gonna color kind of coordinate my symbols here. I'm grabbing random colors. I'm not really trying to choose. I have a lot of warm colors happening though, so let's pick the purple, and then blue. I'm actually going to switch out my orange crayon for my orange color pencil. some colors. I think I have an extra. I do have an extra. So I have 5 here, I have 6 colors, it's fine. So, body of water, I'm not gonna try and be too representational, so that typically you might make a body of water blue, but I'm gonna make it purple because this is artwork. I'm not trying to make it too representational of anything. And then my animal lines will be my yellow green color. And I'm just going over the lines already made with this color. So it kind of looks like it's glowing. But if you're looking at my legend here, you might kind of be picturing your own narrative yourself on what this could be, what it could be sort of inspired by, like a story or something. I'm kind of thinking about a big outdoor garden, hence the water, the flower beds, all that. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to just start plotting down my shapes and everything on my big piece of paper here. So starting fresh, making a map. I'm not really thinking about where everything's going. You can if you want to kind of plot out everything, if you want to design your own garden or whatever you're being inspired by, you can do that. I'm not going to because I want this to be kind of spontaneous and not too planned. Maybe when you're looking at it, you're like, that doesn't really make sense, and that's fine. It doesn't totally have to make sense. So just plotting out my shapes, how I see fit. I have my big trees, which are my big triangles. I have my flower beds / flowers, which are the smaller triangles. I have my circles, which are my bodies of water. I have my sculptures, which once again are my squares. And here's a reminder that to try and make things overlap so that you have more depth, and that's so things kind of blend into one another. And as you're making this, maybe like immerse yourself in this. What is your story? Really, immersion means to sort of bring yourself into your art or into whatever the particular situation is. So this could be a really immersive thing. You can also make this if you have the proper materials. I know when I was younger, I used to make like blanket forts. You can make a blanket fort and kind of throw this into that space. That sounds really fun. And one last thing that I'm going to do, you can go back to your legend if you want for this, is add different lines, different kind of line work. So I'm going to do that right here on this side here. There are different ways you can do line. You can do dash line, like how I did with my circle shape here. You can do straight line. You can do curly line. You could do kind of like a static line, which in other words is just like a really long thunderbolt maybe. You could do kind of stack lines like this. There are lots of lines that you can do. Maybe this turns into a maze. Maybe the lines are kind of flowing through the entry and the exit. I don't know if you can hear the siren, so I'm not gonna wait. That sounded weird.
I know. It's like, is it?
Okay. So I'm going to use my line, and my inspiration for making my lines is to think of different pathways through this, different ways through my map here. So, and I'm not going to use all of the lines that I just showed you, but I'm going to use some of them. So like my curly line, and maybe you're going through things. Maybe you're connecting things. Maybe this is like a short trip. Maybe this is the longest way through your map, the longest pathway through your map, which should be from one corner to another corner, top corner to bottom corner, and vice versa. Maybe it's the quickest way through. And once again, I don't think I mentioned this before actually, but thinking about abstract art, one common thing is to turn it, maybe like it another way, maybe like it portrait instead of landscape, maybe like it one way landscape, but not the other way landscape. Same thing with portrait. So thinking about that in abstract art, turn your paper a little bit, maybe like it one way. So I'm going to continue working on mine this way. Actually, I'm going to do it upside down from what I originally started with. So I'm going to start coloring everything. So with my body of water, looking back on my legend here, which once again includes all of our symbols and what everything's assigned to, aside from our line work and our unassigned symbols. We have our body of water here, which is a purple circle. So I'm going to go in and with all my circles and color them purple. One idea about immersion and thinking, can you picture yourself in your map, in your abstract art, is, I kind of mentioned this with line work, but where would you enter, where would you exit, kind of helping your brain transfer you into your art and helping you kind of figure your way through it. That's one fun thing about immersion. We have our sculptures, which are red squares. And like many things, whenever your shapes are overlapping and everything, you can decide to either let it be, which would be having your colors separate, or you can have them interact with one another and have your colors overlap and layer. I think that's everything. And then for our things that didn't get assigned a color, I'm going to just do them random colors because I want a little bit of kind of planned variety happening here more so. So for instance, with my swirls, I'm going to do some green and then I'm going to do some another color. So I'm basically assigning like just a couple colors to one symbol now, especially the ones that aren't represented by anything. I'm going to do my last swirls in orange. I'm going to keep my long lines just plain black. I'm not going to color over them. But for my hashtag sign, let's see. Let's do brown. That's my last one. And then my last thing that I'm going to color are my circles, my dash circles. I'm going to color the inside of them instead of coloring just the outside lines. I'm going to color the inside a light purple so I'm not pressing down too hard. Okay, there we go. I'm trying to make sure I have everything colored that I want colored. So there is our cartography inspired abstract art. I hope you guys had fun. Once again, we made a legend which includes our symbols, of what is in our map. So our symbols are representational of what we used, what we are inspired by. I was kind of inspired by a garden kind of scene with sculptures and bodies of water and animals and trees and all those plants. So made our artwork based on that. Didn't really think too much on where everything is. Was kind of trying to keep a good flow happening and think about depth and how things can overlap with one another and interact and layer. And to kind of help us with that, we talked about immersion, which is kind of throwing yourself into your art, seeing how things interact, how they might interact with actually, and helping us figure out where our symbols are going, where our shapes are going, where our line work is going. And you guys can make more like this. You guys can make art, more cartography inspired art based on things that you experience yourself in real life, or you can kind of pull from a movie or a book that you're reading or something that you are just really a fan of. You can blend those things together, be inspired by the outdoors too. And I hope you guys do just that and make more. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.